Nothing compares to a game winner in sports. Let's face it, that moment of silence before the shot is fired, the crowd's roar, the expression on the defender's face when history is made directly in front of them. It's the best mic drop ever. Arguments over the greatest game winner in NBA history can get very heated because every fan has their favorite. We're not just ranking moments today, though. We're embarking on a journey through decades of cold-blooded killers and buzzer beaters who came through when it counted, superstars who added another gem to their crown, and role players who instantly became legends. Hold on tight as we relive 7 of the greatest game winners in history. And believe me, by the end, you'll feel as though you were present at every court. Although LeBron James has won plenty of games, his buzzer beater against the Toronto Raptors in the 2018 Eastern Conference semifinals was truly spectacular.
Throws up the floater.
The Cavaliers had already snatched 2 games in Toronto going into Game 3 in order to win one back in Cleveland. The Raptors were desperate. With 8 seconds remaining, the score was tied at 103. No breaks, no long plays, the weight of expectation, the entire length of the court, and LeBron alone. Like a man who had done this before, because he took the inbound, dribbled deliberately, and sailed across half court. This time, however, there was no fadeaway from the elbow and no power drive. Rather, he launched a high-arcing, one-handed floater from the left wing off the glass while he was running. In the air, time passed. Bank shot, buzzer, bedlam. The Raptors were taken aback. The audience burst out. Unfazed, LeBron left like he had just punched the clock. He didn't yell. He didn't pound his chest. For him, it was just another workday. This served as a reminder as well as a game changer. That LeBron maintained his flair for drama and the composure to make it seem natural, even after 15 seasons. This shot became the climax in a series in which he had already established his dominance. The silence that ensued in Toronto's locker room, however, was what really made the shot legendary. The understanding that LeBron always had the last say, regardless of how closely they played it. Legends can occasionally be created one buzzer at a time. LeBron James also added another masterpiece to his collection that evening. This one was inevitable. Without the Michael Jordan shot, which ended a dynasty and left the NBA in stunned silence, no list of game winners would be complete. It was the 6th game of the NBA Finals in 1998. Jazz versus Bulls. Chicago was ahead 3-2 in the series. Salt Lake City, the stage. The stakes, all of them. With less than 20 seconds remaining, the Jazz had a 1-point lead. However, this was Jordan's moment. He started by ripping the ball away from Karl Malone in the post as if it were his own. Then he walked the ball up with complete focus, without panic or a timeout. After assessing Bryant Russell, he made a sharp turn to the right, came to a stop abruptly, and parked. You're aware of what transpired next. With 5.2 seconds left, the ball splashed through the net, time frozen. Jordan held the follow-through. It had a poetic quality. The Bulls won their 6th championship in 8 years after the Jazz missed their last attempt. It was the game winner. Not just a game winner, the one who brought a dynasty to an end, the one that made Jordan's career into the ideal storyline. It was also the most famous shot he ever made while wearing a Bulls uniform. It's the moment, not just the mechanics, that makes this so iconic. The assurance, the command. Jordan didn't recoil. He picked his conclusion and gave it right on time. That jumper is revered in basketball mythology. It's ingrained in the sport's DNA. The crowd, the tension, the pose. MJ pulling up in Utah would be the face of the clutch if it had a face. There was a reason Robert Horry was known as Big Shot Rob, and in 2002, he lived up to the moniker. Fans still get chills when they watch his game-winning shot from the Western Conference Finals. Let's establish the scene. Kings versus Lakers, Game 4. With a 2-1 series lead, Sacramento is aiming to make it 3-1. All night long, they're outperforming the Lakers. The clock's winding down. The Lakers have lost 2 players. Shaq misses a straight line attempt. Kobe is blocked. Out to the arc, The ball bounces. Then, as if in a film, Horry enters the scene. With less than a second remaining, he grabs the loose ball and sends it flying from a distance. Boom! The Staples Center erupts. Absolute chaos. The Lakers triumph. The series was tied at 2. The momentum changed. The Kings most likely win that series without that shot. The Lakers might not win 3 straight without that shot. Horry, however, cemented his reputation as an NBA legend with that shot. Not only as a supporting player, but also as a formidable closer. Nor was this the first time. With the Rockets, Horry had succeeded. With the Spurs, he would do it once more. However, this was his crown jewel. What's even better about it, he remained calm. He didn't think twice, as if it had always been the plan. He simply caught the ball and launched. 30 points a night wasn't necessary for Robert Horry. One moment was all he needed, and he had it when it arrived. Big Shot Rob was one of the quietest but most frequent clutch players. Kobe Bryant was the epitome of killer instinct, and he gave us a 2-part clutch masterpiece in 2006 against the Phoenix Suns. It was the first round's 4th game. The Suns were a running team that the Lakers had to contend with. Amar Stoudemire, Steve Nash, and the rest had speed to burn. However, Kobe, cold-blooded confidence was something else he possessed. The Lakers were behind with 2 seconds remaining in regulation. Kwame Brown stole the inbounds pass after tying the score up with a layup. In order to send it to overtime, Kobe grabbed it, pulled up over 2 defenders, and made a hard-leaning shot. He wasn't finished, though. The Lakers had one final possession in overtime with just 6.1 seconds left, and the score tied once more. The inbound arrived at Kobe close to the half court. With 2 defenders closing, he dribbled calmly to his right elbow, got to his feet, and drilled it. The game is over. With the crowd going completely crazy, Kobe ran off with his jersey in his mouth and his fist pumping. It was more than just the shot that made that moment so electrifying. It was the entire build-up, the cold-blooded way he took over, like he'd already written the ending in his head. That was old school Mamba. Ruthless, relentless, and prepared. This was not a game for the finals. It wasn't even a decisive series. However, it was very Kobe. The poise, the control, the sheer will to win when it matters most. Situations like that serve as a reminder that Kobe wasn't merely trying to win games. He was also trying to tear your heart apart and reveal it to you. In addition to winning Game 4, that basket made it clear that Kobe Bryant was the most daring closer of all time. Although Carmelo Anthony isn't frequently brought up alongside other clutch greats, that doesn't mean he shouldn't be. He gave New York supporters something they hadn't tasted in a long time in 2012, when he delivered one of the coldest, most defiant game winners of his career. One word: hope. And the ball found its way to Carmelo in the closing minutes of a close match. Melo jumped up from behind the arc, took a single jab step, and let it fly. Nothing but net. Like it hadn't in years, the Garden exploded. It reminded everyone that Melo could shine when the lights were brightest, and ended a 9-year playoff victory drought. That buzzer beater was more than just a highlight for a city desperate for basketball glory. It was a moment of culture. The scorer, who was born in the Bronx, was reminding his hometown that greatness still wore blue and orange. Melo's ability to remain composed under pressure and make game winners appear casual is something that people tend to forget. He was more than just a scorer that evening in MSG. Even for a single night, he was a savior. Great comes to mind when discussing all-time game winners, followed by Kawhi Leonard in 2019, Eastern Conference Semifinals, Game 7, 76ers versus Raptors. The series was tied 3-3. At 90-90, the game is deadlocked. Then insert a scene that appeared to have been taken directly from a motion picture. There are 4.2 seconds remaining. The inbound pass goes to Kawhi. With Joel Embiid pursuing, the shot clock off, and the tension suffocating, he dashes to the corner. He jumps off one leg, fades into the right corner, and throws a moonball over Embiid's fully extended arm. You could feel the weight of a nation holding its breath as the ball struck the rim once, twice, 3 times, and then 4 times. Then it fell. Bedlam. Not all of Kawhi's shots were buzzer beaters. In NBA history, it was the first buzzer beater in Game 7. The Raptors prevailed, Philly was sent packing. Kawhi Leonard instantly cemented his reputation as a playoff legend. The bounce followed. An instant classic is the still photo of Kawhi squatting in the corner with stunned fans and teammates surrounding him. However, it went beyond aesthetics. The course of the entire postseason was altered by that shot. Toronto won its first NBA championship by riding that momentum. Kawhi changed the balance of power in the NBA in addition to hitting a game-winning shot. No thumping of the chest, no yelling, just surgical precision and a cold face. It was clinical. It was recognizable. Kawhi was the one, and that globally reverberated bounce is a unique addition to the pantheon of game winners. Nikola Jokic is probably not the first name that springs to mind when you think of legendary game winners. He doesn't play loudly, he doesn't show off. However, the Joker delivered it his way when the Nuggets needed a final dagger to seal their fate. NBA Finals Game 5, Miami Heat versus Denver Nuggets. With a 3-1 series lead, the Nuggets are poised to make history. As usual, Miami won't give up. Jokic thrives in tight, gritty, and ugly game. Jokic catches the ball close to the high post late in the fourth quarter. As Denver is holding onto a slim lead, he calmly lofts a soft floater over outstretched arms, spins baseline on Bam Adebayo, and fakes a handoff. It falls. No pumping their fist, no scream, just a quick jog back to defense as if nothing had happened. However, that bucket, that was the time. Miami's spirit was broken. It was the final punch in a series-long display of dominance. Jokic dominated that game from beginning to end, not just won it. He essentially crowned himself with that shot. Jokic appeared somewhat disinterested when the clock struck 0 and confetti began to fly. The drama couldn't appeal to him. He was present for the victory. During one of the most technically flawless and psychologically dominant playoff runs we've ever witnessed. He helped Denver win its first ever championship. Jokic's pivotal moment was encased in skill and silence during a postseason full of noise and chaos. Unquestionably fantastic, but not ostentatious. He proved it without a buzzer. The league was aware that the crown belonged to him. We appreciate you coming along on this journey through the most illustrious game winners in NBA history. These pivotal moments from LeBron to Jokic define what makes basketball so special. To ensure you don't miss a shot from us or the best in the league, don't forget to hit the bell, like, and subscribe. Do you have a favorite game winner that we might have overlooked? Leave a comment down below.